I'm in a reading slump. I am hating this reading slump. A book I hated put me in this reading slump, and well, we just have to do something about it. Let's talk about this bouquet. So, I love receiving flowers and I love like arranging them into little bouquets. And so now I've decided that anytime I have flowers, I have fresh flowers, I'm just gonna hang out with them in my videos. So this is the bouquet that I've assembled. We have roses of four different colors. We've got like this mauve colored rose, this baby pink rose, this peach orange rose, and then this yellow rose. Then we've got these flowers that I do not know the name of, and when I search them up on Google Lens, it tells me that they are stock flowers. They're also pretty fragrant, and I love that. And then finally, we've got ye old aster. I love larkspur. It's my favorite flower. And you know what? It is almost larkspur season. I am so excited. But a lot of times people have gone and tried to find me larkspur without knowing that it's the off season. And the people at the the people at the flower market always trick them into getting aster. So aster is gorgeous. It's just not larkspur. I'm so sorry. Anyway, this was my bouquet. And now let's talk about the slump and the books. I mean, we gotta balance it out, right? Something annoying with something endearing. I am in a really bad reading slump. Even when I dedicatedly sit down to read, I'm not able to get through it. I am struggling really hard. There's a book that's like mid with beautiful prose. I'm not able to get through it. There's another book that I'm reading which is really entertaining and would honestly, I would binge that book. I would finish it in a day if I was not in this slump. So, we're gonna try to get over this slump by binging three small short books. So, these are the books. First, we've got The Demigod Files from the Percy Jackson universe, which is on multiple TBRs actually this year. It's on a TBR for a secret project that you'll know when you know. And it's on my Greek mythology TBR. And then I also just want to reread this because I got this copy. And like I said, my books have turned into a biohazard. So I had to get this fresh new copy. And I also reread the original five book trilogy. And this is somewhere between, I think, the third and fourth book or the fourth and fifth book. I was a child when I read this last, so I don't remember. So I want to reread this. So let's try to give this a read today. And the next book again is Camp Half-Blood Confidential. This is from the Percy Jackson universe, but I'm honestly not sure where in the whole like publication timeline or in the chronological order this fits in, because in at the back of this book he's talking to Lord Apollo, and he was a character in the Trials of Apollo series, which was the like latest series in the Percy Jackson universe, before the revival, of course. So now I'm not really sure where this fits in, and this is also a completely new book that I haven't ever read. I got this at the book fair this year, and it's like 150 pages, and I'm hoping that this will help me get out of my slump, as will Heartstopper. I'm really, really hoping that this book is going to help me get out of my reading slump because Heartstopper. So this is the Heartstopper yearbook. It's sort of like a special edition book that's an addition to the universe edition. It contains like bonus content, character profiles, tutorials on how to draw the characters, and a lot of other things. Like this is narrated by the author Alice Osman, and in this book they talk about like the history of these characters, their conception, the way that their art style has changed over the years, and it's like I think I can finish this like really really quickly. So I'm looking forward to reading these books, and it's currently 3:40 p.m. and let's see how many of these books I can read before 3:40 p.m. tomorrow. And also, let's hope that these books can get me out of my reading slump. So it's actually a week later and not one day later from my last check-in, but I thought I should talk about this. So ever since I read the demonic book that shall not be named, by a very famous Japanese author. I have been in a reading slump. And at first, I thought that reading multiple short books and by forcing myself to read a lot in a short span of time, I might be able to get over my reading slump. So I picked out those three books. I actually finished those three books in the span of 24 hours and nothing. It was a struggle to read either of those books. I had to actively force myself to read, had to constantly be like, okay, pay attention to what is on this page right now instead of, reading and getting lost in the story. I have a very good imagination, which is why it's never actually been a problem for me to read much. But this reading slump was really, really just kicking my butt. I talked to friends about it. I don't even know. I tried to read What Will People Think, which was another book I picked up as a way to sort of get through the slump because I knew I would enjoy that book. And I was also kind of familiar because it was a Pride and Prejudice retelling. And if you know me, you know I like Pride and Prejudice. So I thought that the familiarity as well as like how entertaining that book was would make me want to actively read more and get through it. But it just made that book a drag, and it wasn't a drag at all. It was a hilarious book. And so I kept on reading, I kept on going. Even after those 24 hours, I kept on reading the other book that I just mentioned. And I wasn't getting through this reading slump at all. And then I went um, to another city to meet my friend. And I hung out with her. I did read a little bit, okay? But that kind of broke me out of my reading slump. To be fair, I think I was mostly out of the slump by the time I was going because the day before I set out to go meet her, I was reading What Will People Think? And there were points when I was reading the book and I didn't even realize how fast the pages were going, how fast time was passing by. I was just reading and that was it. So I was mostly out of the slump by then, but I think that if I hadn't gone to meet my friend and if I had just kept on forcing myself to read, I would not have broken out of my slump. This reading slump, I had actually tried to not read for a while. There were a couple of days when I didn't read. Like I said, my reading streak broke. So I was under the assumption that taking a break was not helping. And that's why I kept on trying to force myself to read. But that wasn't helping either. But I think the solution lay outside the false dichotomy of to read or not to read. That is the question. And yeah, that's it. Meeting a friend, spending some quality time with a loved one, and just being and just doing things without this constant thought of, oh my god, I'm in a reading slump. Oh my god, I need to be reading right now. Oh my god, I'm not getting through these books. Oh my god, my TBR. Oh my god, blah, 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 blah. That wasn't helping me, but friendship did. Maybe the real reading slump cure was the friendship we found along the way. Or maybe it was these flowers, because I also did get these flowers right around the time I can for sure say that I was out of the slump. So who knows? But this kind of stuff can happen to anybody and everybody. And I haven't been in a reading slump for a while, so I thought I would document this to remind myself to take it slow. And if I'm at my wits' end again sometime in the future, I can look back at this video and try all of these techniques to get out of my reading slumps. I hope this was helpful or is helpful for anybody in a reading slump. You try a bunch of things and just keep going until something works, which is true of life as well. So there's that. Um, I'm currently thinking of the little monkey Punch, who is also basically doing the same thing, keeping on trying until something works for him. And those monkeys better watch out. Those friggin' bullies. If I see you, I might be afraid of monkeys, but if I see those specific monkeys, they better watch out. That's it for this video. I'll see you all next time. Bye bye. maybe the real treasure was the friendship we found along the way.